Hello. Welcome to the In Love with Business podcast. This miniseries is titled Chief Sustainability Heroes and is hosted by Professor Paolo Melina and Enrico Foglia from University College London, School of Management. Throughout this series, we will talk to sustainability leaders from different organizations and sectors to learn about their sustainability journeys. We will ask them about their career paths, the challenges they encountered in implementing complex strategies of sustainable transformation, and what inspired them along the way. We will also ask what advice they would offer to aspiring chief sustainability officers. Enjoy the episode.
In today's episode, we are pleased to be joined by Enrico Foglia. Enrico is the Sustainability and Marketing Director at BIP, one of Europe's largest consulting firms, and is also the co-founder of the Regenerative Marketing Institute, which he co-founded in 2021 together Philip Kotler, who is probably known as the father of modern marketing. Previously, Enrico served as managing director of Kotler Impact Europe, and in 2022, he co-founded the Common Home, an independent organization rooted in civil economy values and regenerative thinking. Since 2022, he has been serving as a member of the advisory board of Asso Holding, and in addition to his consultancy work, Enrico is an adjunct professor at Lewis University in Rome, where he's involved in work involving sustainable startups, and is a very active speaker. And in his career, he worked with major organizations of the likes of General Motors, Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, Poste Italiane, just to name a few. Enrico, we are very happy to have you in our podcast. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Paolo. Thanks, Paolo, for this invitation and for the opportunity, and thanks for all your guests.
Thank you.
Maybe, Enrico, we can start with you telling us a little bit more about this journey that is kind of really a very rich journey, touching corporate life, consulting, a marketing institute. So maybe you can add some color to that journey and introduce, the Regenerative Marketing Institute and what you do.
Yes, thanks, Paolo. I mean, actually, I began my career something like 25 years ago, so that makes me feel very old. And I started in Detroit, Michigan, working as a mechanical engineering in the electric vehicle division of the General Motors. But over the time, I became increasingly passionate about sustainability and marketing. So I say always to myself that I've lost the faith in the pure engineering topics. And I believe, that sustainability and marketing are two fields that can work in synergy to bring a concrete help for the nowadays challenges for businesses. So as you mentioned, this my new, role brought me to support many big corporations, Warner Bros, Nissan, Procter & Gamble. And in parallel, I co-founded the Regenerative Marketing Institute with Philip Kotler, the father of the modern marketing, and Christian Sarkar, let's say the creator of the concept of brand activism, in order to help businesses to shift from sustainability to regeneration.
Very interesting. And as part of the role you have at BIP today, can you elaborate on actually what you do in practice, the type of work that you do with clients, at BIP with a focus on sustainability?
Yes, I mean, I understand that marketing and sustainability director, this is my title within BIP, BIP, may be a little bit odd, no? Because we are talking about two different topics. But in my role today in BIP, which is a very large Italian consultancy company, just to create the ground.
Pretty big today, right? You have like 6,000 people around the world, I believe.
6,000, so a big company. So I serve as a marketing and sustainability director, which means that I work at the intersection of these two disciplines, marketing and sustainability. So I'm trying to support company in integrating sustainability into their core business marketing strategy, moving them from poor compliance to real competitive advantage. That's my role in BIP at the moment.
I guess we have a similar mission in life today. I guess I connect more with corporate strategy and competitive strategy. You connect with marketing, but I guess the ultimate objective to move beyond compliance to create real value through sustainable transformation and creating the conditions for a competitive advantage in business. I guess that's a vision that we definitely share
Indeed.
together. This is very interesting. And can you tell us a little bit more about the Regenerative Marketing Institute? Because I understand is a relatively recent initiative, and of course is linked also to the book that you published together with Sarkar and Kotler. So can you maybe explain the little bit the concept and what the institute does?
Sure. But first of all, I mean, we need to agree that, traditional marketing, the marketing that everybody of us study at the university, a marketing that we call growth marketing, is not working anymore. Okay. I'm sure that many marketers or future marketers are listening our podcast today. And I'm pretty sure, I'm positive that they struggle every day to bring value to the organization, focusing on serving the number one target that they have in mind, the client. Okay. This approach is paying off less and less. And, and most of the time ends up in a bloody competition, the red ocean. So at the same time, we realize that our world is suffering because the natural resources are finishing and the our ecosystems are dying. So looking at this scenario, we decide to create the Regenerative Marketing Institute together with Philip Kotler and Christian Sarkar to disseminate a new idea of marketing that may help at the same time the brands to face their current business challenges and the local community to stay alive.
Very interesting. I guess, and very much aligned with the concept of shared value creation that has been promoted by colleagues at our business school in the recent years.
Porter, for instance, of course.
Porter, for instance, of course, exactly, absolutely.
It's fascinating. I think this whole notion of regenerative marketing is very fascinating. And I'm wondering if you can give us an example of how companies, so, through your work, how are companies embracing this new notion or new approach, if you will, to marketing? Like, can you give us an example of how a company or a brand might approach this?
Yes. I mean, I can mention both small company and big company. But before introducing some examples, that is the easy way to try to let the audience understand which is the big news. Just a little bit of theory. Okay,
sure,
so the big news that we will that we have introduced with our marketing, regenerative marketing, is that the traditional marketing focus only on the clients. Okay, so all the obsession of the attention is paid on clients. So the target who's paying your service and your product. In regenerative marketing, then this is the big news. We say that also the company should care about the community needs, okay, and try to serve both client and community needs. And when this, this process happen, there is a exponential value for the company and for the community, because the company is more resilient, the company is more profitable, the company can attract better talent, can be get more loyal client, and the community can get common goods, stronger common goods. The common goods are the assets that we need to live on this planet. So we're talking about fresh air, we're talking about clean water, but also a good healthcare system. So that's the big news that we introduce with our regenerative marketing approach. And of course, in our study, in our researches, we have selected, we have seen that there are many companies who are already applying this process successfully. I may mention a small company or a big company just to say that this approach can be followed by many kind of organization. And I tell you a story. I mean, the first place where we applied these new theories with Philip Kotler and Christian Sarkar was Palermo, because I'm a friend of the former mayor of Palermo, Leoluca Orlando, who wanted me to help the city to get back after the COVID. Okay, so during our research, our study of the ground, we met a very interesting regenerative example, who is a restaurant whose name is Multivolti. Multivolti means multi-faces. So the person behind this initiative is Claudio Restivo, one of the founders. So Multivolti is a concrete example of a regenerative model that works in practice. Essentially displays as two phases: a profit phase, which consists of an ethic restaurant where Claudio primarily employs people from outside the community. For example, the head of chef is a former Afghan general. And in parallel of this business activity, Claudio runs a community activity. They are completely no profit. So he's created a co-working space in its restaurant. He hosts a meeting for organization, or profit organization like Amnesty International. But not only that. Claudio and his partner helps, if they want, their employee to return to their countries and to open and to develop business restaurant in the countries where they come from. And the return in this return of skills has already led to opening of company in Tanzania, Senegal, Nepal, and Morocco. So the merger of the two phases, the profit phase and the no profit phase, generates the commercial success of this little restaurant in the downtown of Palermo. But now the story changed, because in the February 2022, on one night, if I remember, it was February the 16th, an accidental fire destroyed everything. So 40 people were left without work, and Claudio Restivo was desperate. And at that point, the regenerative model showed how powerful it is. Because Claudio made a desperate move. He started asking money in a crowd funding process to his community. And surprisingly, in a few days, 2,000 people, neighbor people, donated a small amount of money. So he was able to collect something like 3,000 euros, and Multivolti, the restaurant, in only 63 days was able to get back to business. So that's proof how the regenerative model is so powerful, because they establish a connection, a tight connection between the brand, in this case was a small restaurant, of course, and the neighborhood and the community. And that makes both much stronger.
That's very powerful. And so is this, I guess, just to build on that, is this what you refer to as community regeneration, which is a concept that you speak about as well in your book, Regeneration, the Future of Community? And if you can maybe just elaborate on that a little bit, this
Yes,
idea of community regeneration?
Community regeneration for us is anything that can improve the common goods of the community. So when a brand decides to focus not only on the profit and only on the customer, but also on the community needs, which means that is able to improve, to increase the common goods. So for us, community regeneration means enhancing, increasing the community common good.
Oh, Paolo, sorry, I
Let me
think you're
ask
on mute,
you.
Paolo. Okay.
Let me ask you like a follow-up question, Enrico, on this. And I understand that this regenerative model is truly a business model, right? You kind of you have a moment and a phase where there is value created for the client and economic value created. But then there is a kind of this phase where also value for the community is created, and the two things kind of create at a certain point a regenerative loop. I guess the question I have for you is when it comes to kind of this concept of value creation. Do you see any tensions with this, when you have been promoting this, way of doing things, this way of thinking? What are the possible tensions that are perceived by organizations when you pitch the model, when you pitch the idea? Because this is, I guess, very much aligned with the general idea of stakeholder capitalism and the stakeholder-oriented enterprise, share value creation. But you are really, pushing this idea of this is part of the business model. This is kind of a new way of generating value. So what the type of tensions you see happening when you try to do that?
Paolo, this is a very good question, and that proves that you are talking with brands every day, because you can imagine that this kind of approach may be judged by some company too far away from the business, so too high, too strategic. And, I want to share with your audience what I always say is when some brands argue that the regenerative approach is too far away from the business. So to fully understand the plus of our approach, we need to make a distinction between the company business and the company value, which I agree are two areas very interconnected, but are not exactly the same. Because the business is the amount of the revenue that the company is able to generate, selling product or services. And it's very important part to keep the company alive, of course. But value is another thing. Value is connected with the purpose of the company, with its capacity to innovate, to attract clients, to attract the best resources, and in the end, how is sustainable is the company. One example that pops in my mind to clarify the difference between value and business is connected to Deliveroo, the food delivery company. In April 2021, Deliveroo decided to go public on the London Stock Exchange market. The performance expectations were very high because the company business, the figures were brilliant, thanks to the COVID that forced all of us to approach food delivery. So on the first day, early 2021, Deliveroo lost 20%, 26% of the stock price. So something like 2 billion of pound, making the worst debut in the history of the UK stock market. Analyst says that the rumors about how the company managed the riders' rights were the reason why the financial community didn't fully believe in the company. So when an entrepreneur, a businessman, or a brand says that regeneration is still connected to the value of the company or the business, I always mention this, solid example of how the two phases are very, very high connected, and they should care about, increasing value as the same as they care about the business revenue.
This is very interesting. And can I ask you something, Enrico? In the moment that you try to implement this in an organization of larger scale. So imagine a multinational company, right, where you have operations in many countries, and therefore you kind of you are connected with multiple communities around the world. I guess now that you explained this concept of the difference between value and business, how do you develop a regenerative strategy in the context of a multinational company? Is that possible, first of all?
It is possible. I mean, definitely regeneration is not only connected to small local restaurant. And once again, I can give you an example. I mean, something that we experience within BIP. So BIP is a company made by 6,000 people, so it's a large company, definitely.
Of course.
So let's back to 2021, okay? Lockdown, COVID. A lot of people, a lot of company ask their colleagues, the employees, to stay home. Okay, I'm sure that yourself and myself were stuck at home. So after the 2021, the pandemic seems to be less serious, and many companies ask their workers to come back in the office. So this is what happened in BIP. We realized that something like 40 colleagues of ours decided to spend their lockdown. People that were based in the BIP headquarters, Rome and Milan, decide to move back to their hometown, which was Palermo, Sicily, to spend their lockdown. So when the company realized that 40 people was living in Palermo, their lockdown, decide to open an office in Palermo, even if BIP at that time had no businesses or client there. And they did, BIP did it to avoid these people to face the second wave of emigration of their life. Okay? So what was happening was nothing but magical. Local institution, the press, university gave this unexpected BIP opening in Palermo a great exposure, generating a significant buzz for BIP. And as a result, a large number of graduates from Palermo in engineering, in physics, in economics began sending their CV to BIP spontaneously, sharing their interest in working for BIP from the new Palermo office. So, like many other consultancy firms, BIP is always looking for new talent. And so the Palermo office quickly became an hub to hire skilled professionals and let them work from their hometown. So I cannot share figures because, of course, are for term of privacy, but the enthusiasm, the motivation, and the productivity of the BIP team based in Palermo is so strong that BIP decided to turn this experiment into a model. After Palermo, BIP opened new office in Messina, Lecce, Bari, and recently, a few months ago, in Palermo. So this is example prove that how a regenerative model can be applied also by large corporation. The first move that BIP did versus the Palermo community has a great payoff in terms of value, in terms of business, in terms of profits, and became a exponential regenerative business model to apply in the rest of the south of Italy.
Very
Amazing.
interesting.
Yeah.
Good example.
That is a good example. Just based on your experience at BIP, so you obviously work with many different businesses, leaders, and companies around the world. And so from your conversations, what are some of the most significant challenges that you're hearing companies are facing today? And through this approach of regenerative marketing, what are the first steps companies need to take to address those challenges? And I'm curious as well, because you mentioned earlier how this notion of value is very closely tied to purpose. And, is that something that's really important? And when we think of first steps, like, is that where a company needs to begin to make sure they have a well-defined purpose and in communicating that purpose?
Yes, I mean, as a sustainability consultant in BIP and BIP, I have the privilege to help or to have helped dozen of big company, in their sustainability transition process. So in doing so, I experienced mainly four needs for which the company ask our help. So the first is compliance. Okay, there are some rules that you need to apply if you want to be consistent, with the framework, specifically in EU. And so first is compliance. The second that become very, very important after the Ukrainian-Russian war, it was cost saving, so connected to energy mainly.
Mm-hmm.
The third reason is what we call in BIP business resilience, which means try to understand the impact of the climate change over the production side, the production lines of the company. So imagine if you are a chemical company located, in the north of Italy or in the Caribbean, you want to know what's happening to the environment and how the environment and the climate change may impact your production line.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not the least is the market pressure. So consumer and also the financial community ask company to be every day more sustainable. And I come back to the example of Deliveroo, where the financial community made a huge pressure on the company to change the way they manage the workforce.
That's great. And then closely linked to the idea of sustainable transformation is digital transformation in this era of new technology that we're living in. So how are you seeing technology being used to advance sustainability and regeneration efforts?
Okay. I have my own opinion about the technology and the role of technology in a sustainability project,
Mm-hmm.
which may not align with the common good sense. I mean, I see technology as a tool to enhance sustainability effort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, today there is a lot of hype around artificial intelligence, which I fully understand, because artificial intelligence enable us to process a huge amount of data in a very limited amount of time. However, the point is that we can choose to use this power in one of the two ways: to pursue infinite growth of our company, which, according to what we say before, has a little chance of success, or to implement regenerative processes that can benefit both company needs and common good for the community. So, in the very end, I believe that the decision remains firmly in our human hands.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Thank you. And Enrico, let me ask you something. You have been, I guess, describing very, very well what the concept is about, and also give us some very good examples of, regenerative business models in practice, and the type of value they can, bring to brands and to communities. I guess I understand that you are, someone involved firsthand in kind of promoting this idea and in helping organizations exploring these new business models. In your opinion, what are kind of the skills that are needed when you try to develop these business models in organizations? So the type of skills that, for example, chief sustainability officers or other, managers involved in these processes of transformation should have in order to be effective in these type of initiatives.
This is a great question, Paolo, because as I just said, it's up to us as a humans to set the priorities or our agenda, not the artificial intelligence, not all the way around. So the skills of a person who want to lead this big change is are both technical and related to the personal approach. First of all, he needs to be able to have system thinking, to see the big picture and how the different elements interact in the strategy. The regenerative leader has to be able to collaborate and negotiate, bridging the gap between the different stakeholders that he needs to manage, as businesses, government, communities, and within the company, the different areas.
Yeah.
Last but not the least, that for a person passionate about marketing, I think it's always very important, the storytelling. So the capacity, which means the capacity to inspire people to move, all together. So these three, according to me, are skills that a regional leader or a guy who wants to be a regional leader should have in his everyday life.
Very clear. And I guess when you embrace, this type of thinking, you move beyond the traditional logic of business, where you have one key stakeholder and you have to create the conditions for a win-win situation. In the moment you have multiple stakeholders, you need, as you said, that to apply system thinking and create the conditions for a win-win-win-win-win type of a business model that is far more complex on one side, but potentially far more rewarding, I guess, on the other side. And speaking of rewarding journeys, I guess not all of them are easy journeys, and even organizations that I guess do embrace these ideas, they might struggle. To implement these type of business models for a variety of reasons. How do you drive a motivation? How do you stay motivated in these type of journeys that require really, I guess, long-term thinking and passion and drive?
Yeah, okay. First of all, you're right. I mean, everyday's life, and not every day, not everything is smooth, not everything is easy, and businesses priorities may be very far away from what we will think, what we think is the best from them, and from our mankind. However, uh, for instance, to my junior manager, to my colleagues, when they face challenge due to a difficult project or demanding client, I always remind them of this. Of course, as a consultant working for a big company, our goal is to generate profit through our daily task. Okay. But as a sustainability professional, we must always remember that if we do our job properly, by the end of the day, we will make the world a little bit better than it was the day before. So I think this is the vision, the purpose that needs to be the North Pole of each person who wants to work in this field.
Mhm. Very good.
Enrico, I think that's the perfect segue into our next question, actually. So when you think about the big challenges facing the world today, how are you feeling? Do you feel optimistic about the role that companies can play to create a better world?
Okay, let's be honest. Among us, company are the one who can shape the world. Okay, so a corporation like Amazon today holds more power and influence on a community futures than the local governments. Okay,
Mhm.
so my hope is that business world realize that if they want to be even more successful, regeneration is the right way to do that. And this being the case, they could be the engine of the regeneration themselves. That's my hope, that the business embrace this new approach, seeing the advantage for themselves and eventually for the communities.
Right. And given the pace we need to move, it seems we need businesses to lead, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact that
Yeah.
the business is leading the agenda also of the governments. No, we know
Yeah.
what's happening in the US, what will happen also in Europe. So
Mhm.
the only way is to have the business on board on this big change.
Right.
And Enrico, I do have one final question for you, because we know that this podcast is followed by many young professionals considering careers in sustainability. Maybe some of them aspiring to become the CSO of a large organization one day. I guess you have experienced and worked with many of them. So what is your advice to these young professionals pursuing this type of career?
Yes, I have a few advice that I can share with them based on my experience. If they want to be effective, first try to understand business. Okay, because you need to learn how sustainability may be competitive advantage for the business. Otherwise, we're talking about communication. We're talking about worst case greenwashing. Okay,
Yeah.
but if you understand the business, you can actually brings solid results to the company. Second, sustainability or regeneration require a significant change in both people and organization. So innovation mindset is very, very important if you want to lead the change. Last but not the least, you need to be mastermind in the art of influence. So convincing people, convincing stakeholders that sometimes are your bosses or the boss of your boss, this capacity is very important if you want to be a young leader in your organization, young sustainability leader in your organization. These are my 3 tips.
I think it's very good advice.
Very good advice.
Enrico, it was really a pleasure to have you in our show, and of course, as co-director of the UCL Center for Sustainable Business, I look forward to collaborating with the Regenerative Marketing Institute, with you and your colleagues. Congratulations for the good work you are doing, and keep in touch.
Thanks, Paolo. Thanks, Melina, for
Thank
your
you.
time, for your attention, and of course, we will collaborate even more often in the future. Thanks you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this discussion, we invite you to like and share this episode on your social media. Enjoy the rest of your day.